Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I'm sitting here just kind of meditating. If you guys follow me, there's something I used to do called Apes Rant. And I usually talked about the AMC and GME and all the stuff that was going on with my journey. And just usually I'd like to, just kind of give people prep talks and keep them going in regards to what we're doing here. And as I was sitting here, I realized I hadn't done one in probably over 2 months. And the reason why that is because I've learned to be immune to all of the FUD to a degree to where I've always wanted to be as an ape. You know what I mean? I wanted to get to a point throughout these year and a half, 2 years, to where literally nothing they did could ever affect my mind on what I was doing. In the first, I'd say, 8 months, it was impossible. Absolutely impossible. I was watching it every morning, watching it every night. It was consuming my mind, drove me absolutely crazy. Second 8 months was me trying to learn how to get away from that, understanding that that wasn't the way to go. Also, doing as much as I can to learn about what was going on at that moment, because it was a lot of stuff happening as the second year progressed forward. But as we've reached so many different ebbs and flows, I've learned to not trust anyone in regards to this stock or this movement other than myself and my fellow apes and what it is that I've been doing personally, which is staying close to my spiritual aspect of what it is that I do and just letting it be about that for me and moving on with my life and not worrying about the stock. So as I've seen all these different things happen and I look up and I see the prices it is, I realize that there are a lot of people who are probably at a point where they're like, all right, we're never going to get justice. This thing is not going to pop and it's time to go home. Take your money and run. But, it's one of those situations where it's like, if you've been in this thing as long as I have, you've been in the ebbs and flows and dealt with the ebbs and flows that I have, you understand beyond the shadow of a doubt, that this is yet another phase of the psychological warfare that they've waged against the apes. It's just putting it on even heavier. That's all it is, and it's all it's ever been. And if you know the fundamentals of what you're doing and you've been following it as closely as I have, then by now, not only did you expect this to happen, but you're laughing because you're laughing at the fact that they think you're going to be afraid at this level of intensity when they themselves, the hedgies, have conditioned us for 2 whole years to in fact be ready for this level of intensity. See, this is what they should have done in the first 8 months. I would have sold everything. I'd have gone left and run and come back and all kinds of weird stuff. You know what I mean? Even in the second 8 months, if they would have dropped it this far, I'd have been like, it was a rough time for me mentally. So I would have probably had to, who knows? If they'd have dropped it this far, I might have been suicidal during certain times of the situation. But to be completely honest with you, I'm much more healed from all of that because of the fact that they've prolonged this for 2 years. I've went in my own personal journey in life because of this and how I've reacted to it. It has taken me through a process of becoming more resistant to other aspects of my life that would be otherwise doubting, or FUD or what have you. Other aspects of my life that would, basically coerce me into wanting to quit. Now it's like, man, I could stand on the edge of anything and look at it dead in the face and not be afraid, because if I know I'm standing there for the right reasons, I've now been tested to a point where it's like I don't fear anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like, for those who are saying, oh, this thing is going to zero, like, buddy, I was ready for this thing to go to zero when it was at 72. What I was questioning was whether or not I would actually be able to see it through. And now that we're where we are, I'm certain I can. You know why? Because I'm certain of what it's going to do. It's going to the moon. Now the question is, how long is it going to take? How many people are going to jump off ship at at this price instead of loading up like they should be doing. And how many people have lost sight of the fact of what the fundamentals of what it is that we've been looking at still is? Have they covered? Are they still on the hook for what they've covered? If you can answer those questions, you already know what you need to do. You already know where you need to stay, and you know what you where you should be. This ain't financial advice. That's most important to say. And if you watch enough of my apes rants, I don't need to get into too much of what I think of the specifics of what's going on right now. Like I said, it's just another psychological warfare tactic against the apes, trying to get us to shake loose of our position like we've always been. And if you know anything about anything, then you know for a fact that there's nothing they can do so long as you stay put. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed but the price. And we know that price is manipulated. You know that's not what it's worth. We've proven that by just sheer demand alone. So let them continue to enact their psychological plans that they've been trying to master for 2 straight years. All they're really doing is putting us through a training mode that's making us more resistant human beings in other areas of our lives, including the area of holding these damn shares. We're getting stronger, you guys, not weaker. That's what the hedgies don't understand. Humans adapt to what they're going through, and if you have a situation where they know they can pop to the moon, that means that whatever they're holding can give them more than their 401k or whatever the hell it is they're invested in other areas. Plus, when you double down the understanding that it's manipulation that's driving this and that there's people who are actually benefiting from corruption on the other side of it, you think people are going to walk away? No, friend. They're going to buy more. They're going to buy a lot more, especially when it's this low. And if it goes even further, guess what they're going to do? They're going to buy more. You know why? Because we know that you have to cover everything that's sold. We know that even if you run it down to zero, you still have to try to figure out where that money is when the people come knocking and asking for it. We know it's coming. And what you're hoping is that we'll sell these shares that we've been holding for 2 years. And what I'm telling you is you've made it so that it's impossible to even want to. I don't want to. You've put me through hell for 2 years. You drove me crazy. Why am I getting rid of these shares at the bottom? I want to see them go even lower. You see what I'm saying? That's where my psychology is now. Well, is that the best you can do? That's what you've made us. So that's my apes rant for the day. I don't really care what they're doing. Honestly, I'm just looking forward to another influx of cash so I can throw it at it. And if it goes out even further, I'll throw even more. There is something called Doggone on Mars. Them things go for a fraction of a penny, very, very small fraction of the penny, so you can load it up on 1 billion of them for like a dollar. Yeah, I'll buy AMC at those prices, no problem. No problem. Just like we buy Terra Luna at those prices, no problem. Test us. If that's what you want to do, run it to zero, delist it, whatever you want to do. You're not getting them elusive from my name. You can do whatever you want. I just know what you have to do. When the day comes, when the calendar says you must cover, when them boys start calling for them margin calls and they say, listen, all that charade you're doing, it didn't work. Run it down to the bottom, they just kept buying. When it gets to a point where you realize there's nothing you can do psychologically, because this is deeper than a psychological situation, this is a movement toward change. Yeah, you'll understand that there's nothing you can do. You can run it down to the coins, change, it will still purchase. It's no problem. No problem. So that's what I wanted to say, man. Stock split, double down, triple stock split, double, whatever they want to call it. I don't care, man. That's what I want everybody to know. I'm not going anywhere. I've never been more enthusiastic about what I'm doing. I don't care how small or how big my position is at the end of this thing, as long as I'm sticking it to the hedgies that have driven all of us into the space we're in. You know what I mean? Like literally, the whole world has been driven to a space because of these people, and that's exactly how much money they've manipulated over the past however long they've been doing this. And the fact that there are people who are aware of this, who was hired and voted in to do something about this, sitting on their hands because of political reasons, just further reinforces why we're necessary and why us not leaving for fear or attempt of being tempted for any reason, is something that we can allow to happen. We can't let it happen. We must stay put. We must buy up the synthetic shares that they keep on throwing out there to reinforce the understanding that what they're doing is futile. Because it is. You're leaving people a chance at a lottery ticket. You think they're going to stop buying because it's getting cheaper? That's never how the poor ever thought in the first place, you guys. You know that's not how the poor think. So, keep testing us. Bringing down cheap holiday shares. Thinking you're going to shake loose people who've been here for 2 years. No. Because if we've been here this long, then we already know what we own. And if we've been here this long, then we know that no matter what the new people are doing, it does not matter. Because we've had this thing sold up for over 2 years. That's the secret. See, synthetic shares are just along for the ride. Truth of the matter is, what is needed for the squeeze to take place has been a lock for over a year. We know it, the ones who locked it, and they know it, the ones who are trying to shake loose the new people. Yeah, that's the secret. BDL 44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.